Hey guys, just thought I'd start part 3 of mission. Last video I left off, I was talking about how it was my birthday and I got a whole bunch of eggs smashed into my head, and it was just a real mess. Um, so my first area, um, Villa Salvador, Villa Alejandro. The zone was called Villa Salvador, and the zone was Villa Alejandro. Um, I remember me and Elder Ashcroft. We'd wake up. He would do his exercises, and we would do our personal study. We weren't that good at companionship study, mostly because of me. I was, too prideful, I guess you could say. We did do some companionship studies, and I remember after lunch. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So we do our planning, and we would teach people. And I remember we were teaching this one really, really old guy. He was like 75 or in his 70s or 80s, I don't remember. But he was very hard of hearing, right? Okay? And I remember we had to teach him the law of chastity. And for those of you who don't know what the law of chastity is, it's pretty much the moral standards that God has, set. Don't have sex before you're married. Don't masturbate. Don't look at pornography. That kind of thing. And I remember when we had to teach him this, and it was kind of awkward because we were kind of yelling it because he couldn't hear. So I'm sure all the neighbors heard us teaching him about the law of chastity. And it's funny because down there in Peru, most people don't even have windows, right? The windows are just open, right? And they have bars over them, obviously, so people can't steal from them. But they just have these square holes in the wall, that are windows, but there's no glass there. And half the roofs are made out of plastic, like the wavy plastic, corrugated plastic or fiberglass, but they're not really enclosed to sound. So I'm sure the people walking by, or the people, his next door neighbors heard us teaching him. And he got baptized. He was an awesome guy, and we were really happy for him that he made that step, in his life, to be closer to God. I remember in my first area, I got so sick. Man. I don't know. It's probably because I wasn't following the rules the best. We weren't supposed to eat strawberries or any kind of fruit like that you can't really clean because it has so many small holes, and you can't really clean in those holes. I mean, you can rinse the strawberry, but you can't clean every single hole like that. And I remember this one time we stopped by this member reference, or it was like a street contact, I can't remember. I think it was either that or it was a previous investigator we found in our area book, and she invited us in, and we were sitting out in her courtyard kind of thing. We couldn't go inside because, she was alone. So that's one of the rules of the mission, that you can't go inside somebody's house, if they're of the opposite sex. So she gave us some strawberry smoothies that were with mango, and they were so good. So she gave us this smoothie, and it was chocolate, or not chocolate, it was strawberry banana or mango or something. But I know it had strawberry in it, and she told us, and I'm looking at my companion, I'm like, hey man, it's not strawberry in it. We're not supposed to have strawberries. She's like, oh, don't worry about it. And I remember I got so sick, man. I was puking and I had diarrhea at the same time. I'm exploding, and it was just a disaster. I remember one time I barely made it home, right? And this brought up a funny conversation with Elder Ashcraft. I said, hey man, I heard this saying that you're not a real missionary until you poop your pants. And he said, yeah. And he told me the story. I probably shouldn't tell you this without him giving me consent, but I'm gonna do it anyways. And I said, hey man, have you ever crapped your pants? And he's like, yep. I'm like, so what happened? And he told me the story about how, this is the funniest instance that it could happen, because he was working in the office, the mission office, right? And they have a bathroom. And it's funny because he said somebody was in the bathroom and he knocked on the door and they were busy, man. And he knocked on the door, they were busy, and then he just pooped his pants because he couldn't wait any longer. And I just started busting up laughing. I actually, luckily, made it through my whole mission without crapping my pants. Which might not sound like an accomplishment, but trust me, when you're in a foreign country for 2 years, eating all those foods that you're not used to, and all those parasites and stuff, it's a major accomplishment. I'm pretty proud of myself. I won't say that I didn't have close calls, because I did. I had some real close calls. I remember one time when I was with Elder Sardone, he was my second trainer, which is funny because he had the same amount of time in the mission that I did, but he was my trainer. I remember I was like, hey man, I'm going back to the apartment. He's like, dude, we can stop by this one house. I'm like, no, I'm going back now. And dude, I tell you, man, I was this close, man. Anyways, enough about that. You guys don't even want to hear about that stuff. But so I remember after lunch, me and Elder Ashcroft, we would come back, and the first few weeks we were good. We practiced reading Spanish. Mostly I would read out of my grammar book. After that, we would, we kind of slacked off and we'd take a few naps. We would take a nap after lunch. Yeah, I kind of feel bad about it, but sometimes it's hard to do missionary work all day long. It takes a lot out of you, doing service for other people, and it does. It really takes a lot out of you walking that far, and especially when you're not used to it. So yeah, I remember. Okay, so that's about as much as I can remember with Elder Ashcroft. Like I said, my mission was 3 years ago or something like that. So I'll move on to my second companion, Elder Sardone. We were still in Villa Alejandro. Man, me and him, we didn't really get along that well. But man, we were a powerhouse, man. We taught so many people, and we got so many people. We were able to contact so many people and challenge them to be baptized, and we were able to baptize a lot of people simply because we got out there. I lost the fear of being, I don't know how to put it. I lost the fear of being afraid of what other people thought, and I remember this one experience we had, and I'll just share this last experience before I cut it off. I remember we were knocking doors on this one mountain, and we knocked on this one door, and we're like, hey, we'd like to show you a video, and we'd like to invite all your neighbors to watch it, right? And they were excited about it. They're like, yeah, sweet, man. They didn't have a TV. They had a TV, but they didn't have a DVD player, right? We had it. We borrowed a DVD player from one of the members, and they invited their whole neighborhood. We had like 20 to 30 people watching this video called The Restoration, and it was freaking awesome. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life. I felt like, like one of the apostles in in the biblical times, where they'd have hundreds of people around them. It was only 30 or 25 people, but it felt like a lot of people. And I remember we got a lot of those people to church, and it was awesome. So yeah, I'll shut it off right there, and I'll continue with this series of what it's like to be a missionary. See ya.